So, spoilers for Moana 2 if anybody actually cares. So I saw this movie a couple weeks ago. I was alone in the theater. I mean, literally, I was the only person in the theater. I saw it at 2 p.m. on a snowy, cold Thursday before Christmas. So, yeah, I was all alone in the theater, and I did not have high expectations because I heard it was originally supposed to be a TV show, and then they decided to make it a movie. And I have to say, I was pleasantly surprised, and I enjoyed the movie, and I really didn't get why people were saying it was bad. And I'm just wondering if a lot of it is just Disney fatigue. Like, there are elements of Disney fatigue that I have. I still haven't watched Wish. I kind of have Marvel fatigue right now. Like, I don't really want to watch a lot of more Marvel stuff. Like, I don't care that Captain America Brave New World is coming out. I only follow the Marvel franchises I still care about. So, like, if they make another Thor movie, if they make another Guardians of the Galaxy movie, Spider-Man, like, those are the ones, like, I'll follow. At some point, I'll probably catch up on the stuff I haven't seen. But, like, generally, you know, I have Marvel fatigue. But once again, I just kind of want to say, like, as a Disney fan, you know, I liked this movie, and once again, I'm apparently in the huge minority. I only saw one video defending it. I forget the name of the channel who uploaded that. I should probably link it, but I'm honestly lazy. Just look up In Defense of Moana 2 and you'll find that video. I saw a lot of other people not liking the movie, which is fine. I guess Shifrellis was kind of mixed on it, but like I just see some other people not liking it, which I get, you know, and it's like, people are entitled to their own opinions, but I feel like it's like people acting like this movie is a disaster or like a 3 out of 10 or some shit. I'm like, no, like it's not. It's like a 6 or a 7. Like I feel like people even like blow it out of proportion, like saying it's like awful. Like I said, I still haven't seen Wish, so I can't like comment on like Wish. I do know like in retrospect, like there are sometimes movies I see in the theater and I like them as I'm watching them, and then once I have a little time to let it sink in, I kind of look back on it and I'm like, yeah, that wasn't very good. Like, that's how I feel about, like, Raya and the Last Dragon. Like, that movie, despite her sharing my name, despite the spelling being different, like, when I saw that movie, I enjoyed watching it as I watched it, but, like, it falls apart upon scrutiny. And I think a lot of movies, like, even this one, like, when I see people have criticisms of it, there are certain criticisms I agree with. You know, usually when I watch a movie and I'm in the theater, I'm like, very in the moment. I'm experiencing the movie as it is. I'm not thinking critically about, like, I mean, I will think about some things like, oh, this is probably where they're going to go with this plot point or whatever. You know, I do think a little bit about that while I'm, like, watching movies. But generally, I don't. Generally, I'm, like, very, very invested. Like, I saw Sonic 3, and, you know, I'm, like, I am locked in. I'm, like, oh, they play the song, and I'm, like, oh, yeah, that's the thing, you know? So, like, I get very, very invested when I see movies as I'm watching them. But, like, you know, I know a lot of things don't hold up to scrutiny, but, like, I liked both Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. It's like, looking back on it, I have more issues with the trilogy as a whole than the individual films, and I feel the same way about, like, the prequel trilogy, how it's like, there are good individual films, like Revenge of the Sith is a good individual film, but the trilogy as a whole is, like, so badly paced. And I think, you know, with the Star Wars sequel trilogy, the problem is just, like, how there were like two different directions they wanted to go with it, and like it ended up feeling very like reductive. And, you know, looking back, I totally recognize that, and I can recognize the many flaws that like Rise of Skywalker has. But, you know, to say it's like the worst thing ever or I wouldn't get any enjoyment out of it, like, that's just not true for me. Like, personally, I do want to rewatch all the Star Wars films at some point to see how they hold up, because how all of them hold up, because I was a kid when I watched the original movies, and, like, you know, I generally have the opinion that, like, Star Wars was never good. It has good moments, but, like, it's not you know, I think people have this thing, there's a Star Wars cycle, just like the Zelda cycle, where whatever is the new thing, people hate on it, and then whatever thing they grew up with, they're like, this is the best thing ever, you know. And it's like, there is a way to like have legitimate criticism. Like, I have legitimate criticisms of Tears of the Kingdom. I have a lot of legitimate criticisms of Tears of the Kingdom, but I still enjoyed myself overall, and I still enjoy the old style Zelda games as well. It's like, it's not a, you know, just because a thing is different, people automatically hate it. And it's like, you can have legitimate criticisms of something, you can even strongly dislike something, but going to these lengths to just be like, to act like everything that came before it is perfect. And I feel like even in this case, it's like people act like the first Moana was perfect, or act like whatever. It's like, no, like, guys, like, I'm an Encanto defender. I'm the, like, Encanto is the best Disney movie since the 90s. Like, I am that person. I'm the person who will say that. Like, however, you know, I feel like with Moana 2, it's like, yeah, I don't think it's as good as the first one, and I can kind of see where there were elements where they wanted to make it a show and then made it into a movie. You know, I can see that, but I was saying about, like, oh, I liked Rise of Skywalker when I kid. Like, I liked Ralph Breaks the Internet. I don't hate Ralph Breaks the Internet. Like, I'm a person, I'm like, I like what I like. There are certain movies, like Raya and the Last Dragon and, like, Ant-Man Quantumania, which, like, fall apart for me upon thinking about them. But, like, I didn't hate Marvel's Eternals. Like, I thought that had an interesting premise. I liked the characters in that movie. Like, it had issues, trust me. But, like, you know, there are a lot of, like, MCU films which people, like, really, really hate. And I'm like, there are flaws with them, undoubtedly. But I don't hate, like, people want to hate everything post-Endgame with the exception of, like, No Way Home. And I'm like, like, the only one I thought was really, like, actually bad upon, like, further scrutiny is probably Quantumania. And, like, even Eternals, I think, has, like, more merit than Quantumania. And, like, for me, it's, like, it has more artistic merit. Which one would be more entertaining? I don't know. Like, does Phantom Menace have more artistic merit than Rise of Skywalker? Probably, but would I rather watch Rise of Skywalker because Phantom Menace bores me to sleep? Like, that's how I am. Like, as long as I'm entertained, I do not have particularly high standards of film. I have ADHD. I like pretty colors. I'm not sitting there watching a 3-hour avant-garde French art film. Like, I'm not doing that. You know, and Moana 2 gave me the pretty colors. It gave me the character interactions I wanted. I like the characters. You know, liking the characters is a big part of me liking the movie. I think the biggest problem with the movie was the Batgirl. I forget her name. She was only in one scene. And then they kind of didn't bring her back. I kind of wish they had brought her back. Because, like, she's like, you might see me again. And then you never see her again until the post-credits scene, which I'll get to. But, like, it was, like... And also how she's introduced is just, like, a dick. Like, she's just mimicking Moana's little sister and being a bitch for no reason. And then is suddenly like, actually, I hate Nalo. It's like, okay. And also, like, Nalo literally doesn't talk in the movie. Like, only in the post-credit scene. Like, Nalo is just this nebulous threat, you know. And I think that's okay, because, like, in the instance of, like, Tekka, that also worked, because, like, Tekka also doesn't talk. But, like, the thing is that you can see through, like, the visual storytelling, like, why is Tekka acting this way? Like, why? Because her heart was taken, you know, that's it. With Nalo, we don't know why he's, other than, like, just greed, just evil and greed. We don't know what are his motivations. Like I talk about Star Wars a lot. Like I was saying, like, with Palpatine, like, yes, he's evil and he's greedy, but you see how he comes to power. You see how he uses, you know, like, the political structure around him to become to power. I'm not expecting, like, some sort of political commentary in a Moana film, but I do want to see, like, obviously this guy's a god, but, like, why is he greedy? Why is he acting like this? Why does he want to, like, separate the people of the ocean? You know, I think that's a good, but honestly, like, I think going into, like, Moana 3, because obviously we're going to get a Moana 3 at this point, which I don't have an issue with, because I think Moana lends itself to multiple stories, because there's a huge, vast ocean out there. And as long as the characters are still kicking around, I think there are things that can be done with this potential. And it's not like Toy Story 5 where the story's been, like, definitively ended. Like, they don't have to make a Moana, like, you know, outside of that post-credits scene, you know, it would have been fine to end it here. It would have been fine to end it after the first one. The sequel isn't needed, but there's nothing wrong with it as long as you know, it's like with Toy Story 5, it's like, I don't want another Toy Story movie. But, like, there are certain movies, you know, it's like, because we've already, like, definitively ended the story, but that hasn't happened in Moana. Like, with Frozen has so much potential. I just thought Frozen 2 was really poorly executed. I'm probably the person who really didn't like Frozen 2. And I like Moana 2 more than Frozen 2. I think Moana 2 works as a little self-contained thing. You know, it is setting up a future movie, but it's not like... Frozen 2 was so messy. It was, like, trying to set a bunch of stuff up that it didn't do. And also, like, this was, like... Moana 2 was, like, oh, we were gonna make a show. We decided to turn it into a movie. Here you go. Frozen 2 was, like, we took 5 years to meticulously craft this, and here it is. And it sucks. Like there are good elements of that film, but, like, you know, with Moana 2, like, the other couple things I want to talk about is, like, in that post-credit scene, first of all, Tamatoa being there, yeah, that's funny, but, like, we're seeing Nalo be like, hey, Amia did back, so, you know, seeing him as, like, he can be a recurring threat, they're setting him up as a threat for a future film. I believe it was Shifrelis, because I watched he recently did his all Disney villains ranked, and he kind of talked about how Nalo is like Thanos in Avengers 2012, and like that comparison is so accurate. Like, he's just there in the post-credit scene, like, yeah, like Thanos is actually setting everything up. Like, Thanos is, you know, the whole Infinity Stone shit, Loki and the Tesseract, and like how Loki may or may not be being manipulated by Thanos. Like, you know, okay, yeah, so Thanos is the background element here, and suddenly he's in the post-credit scene, like, oh shit, it's Thanos, you know, it's like, and with this is like the same kind of thing, but like, it's just like, oh shit, Nalo is real, like, you know, and he does, you know, create a great threat, you know, that storm, and I really like the character elements, you know, that are there between Moana and Maui. I think I also like how they flipped. First of all, the animation is really good. It looked high budget. It didn't look like TV show animation. I gotta say that. Like, the animation looked good. But also with, like, Moana and Maui, like, how the tables have turned. How in the first movie, Maui is down, and Moana is, like, helping him out. And now Moana is going through it, and Maui's like, hey, I'm gonna help you out, though. And, you know... And also the ending. It's like, okay, Moana's a demigod now. We have not seen what her powers can do. I'm sure that's something that will be explored in the third movie. But, like, people think, oh, that's so contrived. Like, she came back from the dead. It's like, okay, well, we know in universe that this can happen, because we also know that Maui was once a human. We know that. And, you know, I think, like, she doesn't deserve it, you know, she sacrificed herself to bring the people back together, so it's a pretty, you know, saying, oh, the ancestors are doing, you know, and I think, you know, I think it was deserved. I think, you know, if someone's gonna deserve to become a demigod, you know, and also, like, just, I didn't think it was that contrived. Like, yeah, she's obviously not gonna die because they need another movie, and also it's a kid's film, they're not gonna kill the main character. Like, yeah, no, but, like, that's it. And the last thing I kind of wanted to say is, like, the music as a whole. Like, I thought the songs, like, people really were not liking the songs, like, without Lin-Manuel Miranda. Like, yeah, I get it. I do think, like, Maui's song was weaker. I kind of liked the song that, the Batgirl had. I thought the song was good. You think it's a villain song, and it's not a villain song. It's kind of like, you know, I still liked Shiny from the first one. I think was a better song. But, like, you know, they brought back, like, We Know the Way. Like, that's, like, the theme song of Moana at this point. And then, like, she, you know, her song, like, Beyond is really, really good. I think Beyond is a really good Disney song. Like, it definitely, you know, it's definitely good. The melodies are good. She does a really good performance. The girl who plays Moana, she's a really good singer. Like, I really like her voice, and she really sells the character for me. You know, it's like Dwayne Johnson. I saw he was credited as a producer as well. Like, he's really into this role of Maui. He's like, I'm Maui now. You know, it's like, okay, bro, like that's your thing, buddy. You know, and I vibe with it. I liked Moana's crew. It felt like less of a lonely venture. The canoe girl, there was the like Maui fanboy. That was pretty funny. And my favorite was the old farmer guy. he's just like he does not want to be there, and it's such a mood, honestly. Like, that's just me every day. But, like, yeah. So honestly, like, you know, I thought the songs were good. I thought, you know, the acting was good, the animation. Like I said, the only criticism I really have, I felt like the pacing felt kind of rushed, and we didn't really get answers. Like, we don't know what Moana's powers can do yet, and we don't know much about, like, Nalo's motivations, and like, the Batgirl, we're gonna see her again. But I definitely think that, like, they're setting up a third movie, and I'm actually kind of intrigued to see where the third movie goes. So I definitely thought this movie was, like, a light 7 out of 10. Like, I wouldn't say it's as good as the first one, but I definitely didn't think it was bad. And I don't know why. I don't know what this narrative is of like, this is such a bad movie. It's like, yeah, if you don't like it, that's cool. But personally, I was kind of just shocked to see how negative the reception was. I'm not talking about like review scores, like the Rotten Tomatoes scores make sense, but I'm talking about like the just YouTube and like just, I know these things skew negative because people want clicks, and I get that too. But like, personally, for me, I had a good time. I enjoyed the movie. I think it's still in theaters. I haven't seen Mufasa either. I heard it's not good. If you're gonna take your kids to see something, go see Sonic 3. But like, yeah, if you got really little ones, I don't know. Like, there's merit to it. It's cute. There's nothing wrong with it. Anyway, guys, that's gonna be it from me, and I hope you guys enjoy. And you know, I mean, the animation's pretty on the big screen. I wouldn't pay. If you don't want to pay to see it, you don't have to see it in theaters. Definitely check it out though if it comes to Disney Plus if you're interested. But yeah, that's kind of my not really a review, but just kind of me saying, yeah, this isn't that bad. And if you guys like and want to see more of my ramblings, you can go ahead and subscribe. And I'll see you all next time. Bye.